welcome to Cindy's Library. This is Cindy, and today I'm going to talk about some of my best reads from the first half of the year. I know it's August, it's a bit late, but we are here, and so let's do it. First, I was going to read this last fall for Bigtober, but we did our mutual friend, so I did Dombey and Son. And this is such a wonderful story. This is about the Dombey family. Imagine Mr. Dombey being somewhat Scrooge-like. Well, he has a little daughter, and then when she is about 6 years old, she gets a little brother, but sadly her mother dies near when her little brother is born. And Florence, that's right. Florence, she is the sweetest girl, and her father thinks she is worthless. The only person in the world he seems to have any affection for at all, really, is his little son, Paul. And Flora and Paul become close. Father's not necessarily happy about it, but he can refuse Paul nothing. We get education, we get a stepmother, we get other things, and the ending is so amazing. This is definitely worth reading. Yes, it is long, but it is worth it, I promise. Oh, then I'm doing two at the same time because they are basically a duology, Lamington and Fletchers, and this is a story of Lamington. I forget what happened to her parents, but her aunt basically raised her. But now the aunt has died and Belle goes to London. She can type, so she basically becomes a secretary. And there are several gentlemen who enter her life, and things go on from there, her adventures. This is D.E. Stevenson at some of her best. I loved these. As for Fletcher's End, well, let's just say there's a house named Fletcher's End in Lamington's future, and there's lots about that as well. The 13th Princess by Diane Zahler. This, if I did not read it for middle grade March, I read it about that time, and it is so wonderful. Story of the 12 dancing princesses, except in this case, there is a 13th princess. Zita, that is right. She is the 13th princess. Her mother died giving her birth, and as much as the king loves his other daughters, by this time he's getting rather exasperated of having only daughters. And so even though Zita is as much a princess as the others, she's basically banished to the kitchens and raised by servants. And well, she learns the truth about herself, which is good because mysterious things start happening to her older 12 sisters. But this is a unique and very sweet retelling. Johnny Tremain. This is by Esther Forbes. This, I believe, won the Newbery. But this is the story of Johnny Tremain. Ah, sadly, his mother recently died, but she was able to get him a good apprenticeship in a silversmith's shop. And so all is going well until one day something happens and Johnny's life is turned upside down. But as it is also getting closer and closer to the start of Lexington and Concord. And we see Johnny's reaction to the events leading up to there and other people around him, their reactions to the events leading up to there. We see the perspective from some loyalists. We see the perspective from some patriots. We spend time with people like John Hancock and Paul Revere. And you don't like Johnny so much at first. Frankly, he thinks he is better than all the other apprentices and lords it over them somewhat. But he learns lessons and events go on. Yep. Oh, I also read the letters of John and Abigail Adams. So let's see, this starts, letter 1 is May 1774. And the last letter is February 1783, which makes sense because 1774, that was that? Yes, 1774 was when the first Continental Congress was assembled. And then there was a second Continental Congress. And then John Adams got sent over to Europe. And he came back and again got sent back again. And when the war was over, Abigail finally decided she was tired of not having a husband. And so she went over to Europe herself. But during this time, they exchanged so many letters. Now, in some cases, of course, John Adams at least felt like he had to be cautious about what he said. But these two had a front row seat to everything leading up to the American Revolution and its conclusion. And we have so much of that here. And they're just great writers. They really are. Galahad and the Grail, by Malcolm Guite, ballad format in this gorgeous edition. And with illustrations. Interesting that he started here, basically in the middle, maybe 2/3 towards the Arthurian cycle. But he tells you everything you absolutely need to know about what's going on in here. But at least in this book, he treats the Grail quest like the center of the Arthurian cycle. And if that is the case, maybe I can finally fall in love with it. I certainly fell in love with this book. And, they were coming back. The American Revolution trilogy by Nathaniel Philbrick. Bunker Hill, a city, a siege, and a revolution. A valiant ambition, George Washington, Benedict Arnold, and the fate of the American Revolution. And in the Hurricane's Eye, the genius of George Washington and the victory at Yorktown. Now, it doesn't say everything about the American Revolution, even on the military side, but it says most things. We have a very clear picture of Boston, the years leading up to Lexington and Concord, and a good feel of how the colonists were feeling and their frustrations with Britain. We meet key players. After Lexington and Concord, we follow mostly George Washington, some Benedict Arnold, and we get detours to the French and surprisingly a Spanish diplomat who made a difference. And what can I say? I loved it. If you want something not short about the American Revolution and very readable, I can highly suggest that series. So those are some highlights from the first half of this year. What will still be on my list at the end of the year? We'll have to see. I guess we'll have to see whether I just want to do another list for the second half of the year or whether I want to do a combined list. But anyway, how has your reading for the first half of the year been? I hope it has been as good as mine. Thank you so much for stopping by. I truly do appreciate it. So until next time, I hope you stay safe and healthy. And as always, happy reading.